we all go our day-to-day lives and just not think, that something like this can happen in our small community.
For a person who has been accused of high crimes to be teaching our young future leaders of America and the world is a travesty.
Munyakazi is regarded as a first category offender. He was carrying an AK-47 during the genocide.
When did you first learn that he's an indicted war criminal who's wanted for genocide and war crimes including murder and extermination?
I learned from you 2 days ago.
Investigations have revealed that there are accused terrorists and war criminals who have escaped justice. A number of them are living in the United States and Europe, seemingly forgotten by the world. Until now. Lieutenant Colonel Roger Karstens, Green Beret.
If he kills someone, everyone's gonna just scratch their head and say, God, we knew that this threat was there.
David Crane, International War Crimes Prosecutor.
Make no mistake about it, this team will track this individual down.
Adam Soralski, journalist.
Bottom line, CIA and FBI have been looking at this guy as far back as the 1990s.
And Scott Tyler, Navy SEAL.
We've confirmed where he lives, we know where he's at, and we can go get him anytime we want.
I still believe that justice will prevail.
Leopold Munyakazi, age 59, linguistics professor. He's charged with genocide and war crimes including murder and extermination.
3 years ago, while working at Montclair State, New Jersey, he gave a speech arguing that the genocide never even happened.
Which is how he came up on the radar. After that speech, the Rwandans indicted him, and Interpol issued a red notice calling for his arrest.
The Rwandans first arrested him back in '95 and say that while he was out on bail, he came to the US where he claimed asylum.
Here he is in his own words. There's a kind of international conspiracy to hide the truth about what happened. I refer to it as civil war, not genocide. It was about political power. It is quite wrong to say that genocide was committed by Hutus.
After that speech, Munyakazi left Montclair State and in 2008 started teaching at Goucher College.
Did Goucher officials know about Munyakazi's Interpol red notice?
For well over a year before Goucher hired Munyakazi, a simple Google search would have turned up that red notice.
In his file here, there are over a dozen sworn statements. Many of them say he carried an automatic weapon.
Having any gun, much less a Kalashnikov of the sort Munyakazi carried, was a sign, to these witnesses anyway, that he had juice with the authorities. Here he is again in his own words. When I reached Kayenzi and realized that my safety was bad, I told the mayor, so he gave me a Kalashnikov gun. Witnesses say he wielded that gun while supervising and inspecting night patrols. These are some pretty serious charges, and I, for one, want to hear how he answers them.
Let's get going. While investigating the case for Professor Munyakazi, we decided to consult with Congressman Donald Payne, chair of the House Subcommittee on African Affairs. He has an abiding interest in African affairs and, more importantly, has been following Professor Munyakazi's case for years.
Well, thank you so much for seeing us. We want to talk to you today about Dr. Leopold Munyakazi. And we're trying to get a sense, we're really trying to understand how somebody like that remains in this country.
It's absolutely shocking. This is a clear case of a person who has been indicted, who's been accused of a crime, who should go to trial to determine his guilt or innocence. I can't see where any of our authorities in our Justice Department could have any kind of confusion about the fact that a person was accused of high crimes.
Have you gotten a satisfying answer out of Justice or Homeland Security about this man?
No, we haven't. For a person who has been accused of committing genocide, to be teaching our young future leaders of America and the world is a travesty. It's a disgrace.
When investigating serious accusations like Munyakazi's, we can't make any assumptions. That's why it's so important to confirm all of our intel on the professor, and why we have to do it discreetly. All right, so you'll see up here on the left, this is his house. This is where he's gonna start out from. We're getting ready to head into the college. So this is the direction he's going to probably walk in. Big parking lot here. It's gonna take him about 5 to 7 minutes to walk from his house to this point here. He walks from his house onto the campus. The classroom that he teaches in and his office is up in this position. The options that he has for walking are around to the right or around to the left. Actually checked it out a little bit earlier. It's pretty much a main thoroughfare through here. I'm gonna be set up to go either direction, but I'm pretty much planning for him to go up this way through the campus, and then we'll just follow him to the office, confirm that that is his office, and then from there, I think everything's gonna be fairly organic and dynamic, so we'll see what ends up happening. I am excited to go back to Africa and try to help get closure to a lot of these tragic events that happened.
In 1994, in April, I was called up with my Green Beret unit to stand by to go into Kigali. Maybe we could do something to help stop the genocide. Suddenly the mission was canceled and we were told to go home. That was an emotional event for me. And this is perhaps some semblance of a redemption.
When I was with the Marine Corps back in '94 and the genocide was going on, we got called in to help evacuate U.S. citizens. We weren't allowed to go in and stop what was going on. And I felt really useless at that time. We all did.
To find out that perpetrators could be in my country, I think is disturbing, and it's a story that I want to tell. And here's a case where, it's Rwanda. That's in the past. It's not in the past. There are people who are wanted for committing genocide who are living in the United States. Professor Munyakazi and his defenders insist that back in 1994, he was among the hunted, not the hunters. He goes even further and insists there was no genocide in Rwanda, just a civil war. We are here in Rwanda in search of eyewitnesses who can attest to Munyakazi's activities.
This river holds some great importance in my life. It's really the reason why I joined this mission. In 1994, I was supposed to come to Rwanda. When the mission was scratched, I went home and turned on the TV and saw those very bodies floating down the river, and it just crushed me. It's something I've never let go of, and it's actually important to me personally to be standing before this river 15 years after the fact.
So you've been here to this river before, back in '94, is that correct?
narahageze nk'Imana yandokoye hari yagira ngo nzavuga ibyo nabonye bafataga abantu bakarundarunda gutya bakarohamo nk'uruhisho abo bagiye bafata hanyuma bamaze kwitonda bo bagiye babatemamo kabiri bakarohamo ibice.
How many people do you think you saw thrown in the river?
Barutaga nk'ibyatsi bafata ibi byose ukashorera ugenda unagamo urundarunda wongera unagamo urundarunda wongera unagamo. Benshi hapfuye abana banjye 6, umugabo wanjye wa 7. Uhageze nawe wagira agahinda ubirebye nayawe maso kwirebera.
Did you ever hear of a man named Leopold Munyakazi?
Munyakazi niwe wacu aho ngaho niho iwacu niho avuka, iwacu aho ngaho ikirwa muri Kayenzi. Bavuga ko yari afite imbunda yajyanaga niba ari kwirondo niba ari hehe. Abize bose bari bazi by'iyo ntambara, yabujijwe n'iki se ko yari akomeye, yarazwe.
Was he one of the hunters or the hunted?
Ntabwo yahigwaga rwose. Nzumva ari ibintu anaceceka ndihirika njyenyine ntarabyaye. wowe ubyumva abantu bireze bakemera ibyaha bagera muri gacaca bakabahindura abera ubona ko abantu bishwe n'abandi.
That's why we're here. We're traveling around the world looking for the people responsible for committing these atrocities. One of those people who've been charged is Leopold Munyakazi.
Rwose nibagerageze nubwo abapfuye batazazuka ngo tubabone ariko kandi niba ari umurimo mwiyemeje nzabikora Imana izabibahembera.
The Rwandans have a saying, never again. You know, never forget. And when you look in her face, you clearly see that she has not forgotten the pain that she must have felt losing 6 of her children and her husband and many members of her community. It refocuses me on how important this mission is.
We just went by his office and he's not in there. And it's the last day of the semester.
Do you have office hours?
I can probably ask around and find out where he is, and then at that point, if we are able to find him, what's the goal here? If he is even here.
Do you have any evidence showing that Professor Munyakazi had a gun?
Oh yes, he had a gun.
As soon as he comes out of his house, you're ready to go. You step out, you're waiting at the stoplight. All right, you ready?
Get you up to speed a little bit on where we are.
All right.
I sat down with the president of the university, President Unger, and showed him the red notice. And he hadn't seen it before. He was just, what is this? We talked a little bit about it. I showed him the indictment. And it is clear, just based on what he told me, and I have no reason to doubt him, they had no idea at all. Literally until the moment that I showed him the red notice, that they had an indicted war criminal on campus.
Interesting. You know, and he's a former journalist, so I bet immediately he picked up on the impact that this might have on his university.
Well, who's to trust? Is this a real indictment? Is this, it's a reasonable question.
Yeah, Google him for
Why don't you
crying out
Google?
loud, like you should have before you hired him.
Right. And the president of the university said that he was relying on this scholar rescue organization that places scholars at risk with different universities, and that they placed him at Goucher. We told President Unger that the prosecutor from Rwanda, Jean Bosco, is coming tomorrow, and asked him if he wanted to meet with him. And he said, yeah, thought that was a good idea. He sees that as a way to kind of see what's behind the indictment, ask his own questions, and do some due diligence at this point.
Some in the human rights community argue that the Rwandan judiciary is not independent, and that the current government may be using the courts as a tool to persecute political dissidents. In Munyakazi's case, they say he was indicted in response to a 2006 speech he gave denying the genocide.
Jean Bosco Mutangana is the head of the Rwandan government's fugitive tracking force. He's in charge of hunting down those who were responsible for committing the 1994 genocide.
How important do you consider the case that you've brought against Leopold Munyakazi?
As a prosecution, we find this case to be very strong. Munyakazi is regarded as a first category offender. He attended meetings with the local mayor, and the same meetings hatched and planned the killings of the Tutsis.
Do you have any evidence showing that Professor Munyakazi had a gun?
Oh yes, he had a gun. I have a document in his own statement.
Some of it might make sense if he was under threat, but he was a Hutu at a time when all the Tutsis were under threat, and so the idea that he's carrying a weapon perhaps for self-protection would not really make sense to me.
The Hutus who died during the genocide were killed for different purposes. We don't have any history of Munyakazi being persecuted by the former regime.
Was Professor Munyakazi indicted for political reasons in 2006 because he gave a speech in which he denied the genocide?
We don't issue political indictments. The indictment we issued was based on evidence, and it was not anywhere related to the speech he gave. In 1994, he was arrested and charged, and he was on bail, and we have the bail documents, which stipulates clearly that he's not supposed to leave the country.
think it's hard for me to understand that you would give someone bail who was in jail for genocide and war crimes.
The prisons were crowded, and we thought that provisional release could solve that problem as well. So Professor Munyakazi was given bail under that arrangement. He was carrying an AK-47 during the genocide, exactly of this type, like the one you see here. It's the same type of a gun that the militia trained and subsequently used to kill Tutsis. So the whole thing is unusual for a Rwandan professor to carry a gun. In the eyes of local people, and in the eyes of the Tutsis who were hunted, somebody who carried the gun was the authority and was a killer, actually.
I'm gonna go meet with the president of the university. I also found out some interesting information about this guy's immigration status. He doesn't have refugee status and doesn't have a citizenship. If there's suspicion that you incited genocide or did any of these things, then you're subject to deportation.
There's a sign that says no parking past this point. It's basically gonna park right in front of that in the white van with the hide site.
Okay.
As soon as he comes out of his house, you're ready to go. You step out, you're waiting at the stoplight. By the time he arrives, if you get to go across ahead of him, go ahead and walk. I'm gonna pop out of my vehicle, which is gonna be further back down the street behind him. I'm gonna wear the glasses. You're gonna have the button cam on with the backpack? All right. So we'll get those rigged up now. Let's not push him too much because we still need to figure out how we're gonna do this confrontation, and we don't want to spook him too early. So, you guys good?
Yeah.
Hopefully this thing will all come together really well.
See some positive resolution on this one where he actually gets sent back to Rwanda to face justice. All right, you ready?
I understand that during the genocide you were a policeman, and I understand that you admit your guilt for participating in genocide. Did you take part in the killings?
Mu kwica abantu ntawe nishe ahubwo nuko kubera umurimo nakoraga w'ubupolisi byatumye biba ngombwa ko bambaza baranamfunga.
Did you see Dr. Leopold Munyakazi during the genocide?
Ndamubonye umunsi umwe yaje gusaba burugumesitiri amasasu kandi nabisobanuye.
So Professor Munyakazi came to the communal police headquarters to ask for ammunition.
Yaranayifite icyo gihe.
What kind of gun was he carrying?
Ntabwo nitonze kureba neza cyakora yaba ari Kalashnikov. Yaraje aturuka nk'ariya ku marembo afite iyo mbunda ye mu bitugu. Icyo gihe nibwo namubajije ageze aho ngaho aho narindi. Ese Munyakazi amasasu wakanayiki ngo nayo kwirindisha.
Who is Professor Munyakazi protecting himself from?
Nanjye byaranyobeye cyakora Professor Munyakazi yari mu ishyaka rimwe na burugumesitiri rya MDR.
But that was the political party in Kayenzi and everywhere else in this country that was carrying out the genocide.
Bose nabona barabicanye. Ukuntu twabyumva ndasanga burugumesitiri na Munyakazi bari bafite ibitekerezo bimwe. Ko nta wundi muntu nigeze mbona yaza kumwaka amasasu. Rero bari nsanga bari bafite ibitekerezo bimwe yaje yitwaje. Muri si asanzwe akoresha asanzwe atunze ikaramu. None agiye gutunga imbunda. Gusa we wavuga ngo iki?
Were you involved in killing of Tutsis during the genocide?
The right action to take is to have such matters addressed very fast.
I'll fly to the... Wait, is that him? Roger, he's leaving his door, over.
waiting for Dr. Leopold Munyakazi, who's an indicted war criminal, to come onto campus here in Maryland where he teaches.
All elements of this net, radio check. Vehicle 1, this is Vehicle 2, over.
Roger that, Vehicle 2. Vehicle 1 is idling in front of the target residence. Everyone just hold position. Be prepared to wait a little bit.
We've identified Leopold Munyakazi's office from the mailbox outside, and our initial intel gave us this house address. But we can't take that at face value. Since we've never seen him in person, we're hoping to follow the individual who leaves this house to see if they go to Munyakazi's office. We need to make sure that this is our guy.
Is that him? Make sure. He's leaving his door, over.
Hey, man.
He's there. Just follow me. I'm in the parking lot. I have eyes on at about 150 meters.
I'll pick him up. He's moving toward the main building.
Maybe see if I can just kind of trail him to his office.
He's actually walking towards the kiosk. He just went into the building in front of me. I'm gonna check the office window. There he is in the office. It looks like we got our guy.
We were in the process of bringing Jean Bosco to the United States on another case. But when Sandy Younger expressed an interest in hearing from him directly, we flew the Rwandan prosecutor in earlier than planned.
10 years ago, the Rwandan judiciary was still reconstructing itself. Genocide cases were many, and we had so many thousands of suspects in prison. This is a bail granted by the prosecutor. You're instructed to appear every week, and you're not supposed to leave the country. He jumped bail because he left the country.
You know, he claims that he should be given refugee status, that he should be given asylum because he faces persecution in Rwanda.
This would mean that this country is giving refugee status to criminals. The right action to take is to have such matters addressed very fast. Otherwise, if justice is delayed, then it is denied.
Okay, well, let's go see the president. Professor Munyakazi says that in 1994, he was an innocent bystander who did not witness or take part in any of the killing. In fact, he says he tried to save lives. Eyewitnesses, however, tell a different story.
What was Dr. Munyakazi doing during the genocide in your village of Kianzi?
They were doing patrols at night, and they had like different sections. So he was seeing him visiting all of those sections.
So you saw Dr. Munyakazi inspecting patrols or roadblocks in your town. Were you working on one of the patrols or roadblocks?
Yes.
And what did those patrols do?
The patrol was to arrest people.
To execute Tutsis. Was to carry out the genocide.
Those that were being found, they were going and throw them in Nyabarongo River. They were killing them.
When you saw Dr. Munyakazi inspecting your patrol or inspecting other patrols, was he carrying a weapon?
Yes, he was having a gun, a weapon.
What kind of weapon? A Kalashnikov?
Yeah, Kalashnikov.
I understand that you saw Dr. Munyakazi with a group of people who went out and carried out some sort of atrocity, some sort of killing.
They were getting ready to go to kill Tutsis. he saw Munyakazi that time. They were going to go attack those people.
Do you consider Dr. Munyakazi to be complicit, to be involved with the genocide, based on what you saw him doing in 1994?
What he knows is that where he was with him, getting the briefings, all the briefings that they were getting was not to do good things. So they were planning to do bad things.
Is he dancing around his own role in what happened?
I think so.
Were you involved in killing of Tutsis during the genocide?
kubera ko nanjye nagize uruhare harabonemeye ko
he's accepting that he was involved and he doesn't feel well because of what he did, and he apologized and he accepted what he did.
How does it make you feel to be in a room like this and see photographs of people who are no longer with us?
mba numva mfite agahinda.
It's feeling so sad, being in this room and seeing these pictures, but being here is really feeling not good.
Professor Munyakazi has admitted in writing that he carried an automatic weapon back in 1994, but says he did so for self-defense. This witness, however, echoes what a number of others have said, that Munyakazi carried that weapon while serving in a leadership position during the genocide. And this witness isn't some innocent bystander. He says, I took orders from Dr. Munyakazi. It was their suggestion that we speak to Munyakazi directly.
You gotta be kidding me, like above board, like we actually go and chat with him with cards on the table.
You're telling me you don't know about these charges? President of the university, his PR person, and their general counsel. The president is a former journalist, former president of Voice of America, was very interested, and he wanted to assure himself that the Rwandan judicial system was above board and that this guy wouldn't go there and be put to death.
Maybe he was not informed, but I brought him to the point of understanding how Rwanda's judiciary has improved, how we have abolished the death penalty. We have a special regime that covers fair trial, and our judges are experienced as well as prosecutors.
It was their suggestion that we speak to Munyakazi directly.
You gotta be kidding me, like above board, like we actually go and chat with him with cards on the table.
They're going to take us there as soon as his class empties. We'll approach him, and we'll do this totally above board. During our time in Rwanda, we were unable to substantiate Professor Munyakazi's claims made to U.S. investigators as well as his peers that during the genocide, he was among the hunted. In fact, U.S. officials have told me that Professor Munyakazi's visa has lapsed and that he has applied for asylum, a request officials say they plan to reject. Now it's time to speak to the professor directly to see what evidence he has to back up his story.
No record, no pictures.
I want to be recorded.
This is Adam. He's the producer with NBC News.
I'm going to ask you some questions if that's okay with you.
First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
No pictures, no recording.
Okay.
Otherwise, I am welcoming you to my class, and then we have a conversation. Do you agree?
The charges that we want to discuss with you are very, very serious, and we want to give you an opportunity to speak publicly about it. If you don't want to do that, that's your choice. But the charges are very, very serious.
Yes, I would like just to learn about the church.
You're telling me you don't know about these charges?
Okay, let's come and begin starting in a good way. First.
Okay.
So Cyril, what was the purpose of a night patrol?
Inshingano z'irondo rya nijoro kwari gutangira abahigwaga muri jenoside.
So when you would do this night patrol, what would happen when you would find people, when you would find Tutsis?
iyo nza kumufata nagombaga kutamubeshaho uko nicyo gihe cyari kigezweho icyo gihe yagombaga gupfa.
When Leopold Munyakazi would come and visit your patrols and inspect you, what directions were given to you by him?
Niwe washyizeho gahunda bwa mbere, ariko noneho Munyakazi yatangiye kuyagenzura neza amaze gufata iyo mbunda. Yazakora ko twahageze kandi cyabaga kitujyanye twabaga tukizi.
Did Professor Munyakazi ever order you to kill Tutsis?
Icyabaga kitujyanye twabaga tukizi kuko kwabaga ari ugutegereza uwuhigwa. Munyakazi yazaga ku marondo mu gicuku, yazaga tubaza ko nta mututsi twafashe, hako avuga ko nituramuka tumubonye tuzamwica.
We sat down. He proceeded to delay and delay and delay.
He was making a lot of technical objections. First he said he didn't know there was an Interpol red notice. Then he said he knew there was. Then he said, I don't even know what any of these charges are. Then he said he knew that he was charged with genocide.
He showed us his bill that he had from the country of Rwanda.
He said, this document completely clears me and exonerates me of all charges. And it's in Rwandan, so I'm sure he's been telling people this for a long time. And, you know, we were pretty fortunate to have John Bosco there.
He was able to say, well, actually everything you just said about this isn't accurate at all. This says you're supposed to report in every week to the prosecutor. You're supposed to remain in Rwanda. He's like, you violated every single one of these. It's like this document that you're showing me doesn't exonerate you. It basically shows your guilt. You know, you jumped bail. You need to come back and answer for these charges.
We spoke to the Scholar Rescue Fund, the organization which helped place Munyakazi at Goucher. They say they told the school that Munyakazi was, quote, controversial. School officials tell us that at no time did they conduct their own background check. In fact, until June 2008, Goucher did not even have a policy in place requiring background checks for new faculty. The bottom line is that a man charged with genocide and war crimes was hired to teach here at Goucher College. We're going to see the school's president to try to get some answers on the record.
We all go our day-to-day lives and just not think, you know, that something like this can happen in our small community.
When did you first learn that he's an indicted war criminal who's wanted for genocide and war crimes including murder and extermination?
We spoke with officials at the Scholar Rescue Fund, which provides fellowships to academics whom they deemed to be at risk. They told us they were unaware of the charges against Munyakazi at the time they were offering to place him at Goucher, but they insist they warned the school that Munyakazi was, quote, controversial. School officials tell us that at the time they hired Professor Munyakazi, they did not require background checks for new faculty. As a result, they were unaware of the charges against him. I'm going to see Goucher's president to hear what he plans to do with this case.
What did you know about Dr. Munyakazi's background when you hired him?
We hired him on the recommendation of the Scholar Rescue Fund of the Institute of International Education. They keep a list of people, scholars, intellectuals from around the world, who, if they had to return to their home country, would be in danger of their lives being threatened. And of the three names they gave us, the one who seemed most plausible to fit in our academic program was Professor Munyakazi.
When did you first learn that he's an indicted war criminal who's wanted for genocide and war crimes including murder and extermination?
I learned from you 2 days ago that the Rwandan government has taken such actions against him, has indicted him and made such charges.
Would you have hired him if you knew those charges had been leveled?
As far as I'm concerned, if there is solid evidence, documentable evidence that we think would satisfy our judicial system that someone was involved in the killing or the planning of the killing of other people, we would not employ such a person at Goucher College under any circumstances. I am very interested in knowing whether international people judging these matters would or are leveling the same charges against Dr. Munyakazi, and I'm taking steps to try to find that out.
I'm wondering how, as a university, you can ascertain the truth behind the charges. I mean, isn't that what a system of justice is for?
Of course a system of justice is for that, but an accusation is not tantamount to a conviction.
That's true.
And
But
so
this is
we
somebody
will...
who hasn't been willing to have those accusations decided one way or other by a competent court of law, because according to the Rwandans, he jumped bail.
We have asked him for an explanation.
He insisted that he's been exonerated of all charges and produced a document that evidently says the exact opposite.
If someone is working at Goucher College who was responsible for mass killings in Rwanda, that person will not remain at Goucher College.
The day after our meeting, Sandy Younger suspended Professor Munyakazi from his teaching duties at Goucher. And on February 5, 2009, the Department of Homeland Security arrested Munyakazi and placed him under house arrest. Homeland Security officials oppose Munyakazi's asylum claim and are moving to deport him. A judge will make a final ruling on his deportation in March. In the meantime, U.S. officials have traveled to Rwanda to interview witnesses about Munyakazi's activities during the genocide.
I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. I've had the chance to set up a meeting with Alicia Roberts, whose daughter attends Goucher College. She's also in the education field.
My child attends Goucher, sophomore year, completing right now. I received the letter in January. It was during her winter break. And it referenced the fact that there was an employee there, and I'm sorry, I have a hard time pronouncing, Leopold Munyakazi. The letter stressed that he was no longer going to be on faculty at Goucher College. Being on the education, component myself, I just kind of found it odd that he was already on campus and actually teaching the students, and it wasn't made aware, to the school that this actually was going on with this teacher.
As someone who has children, that was my, initial reaction. I have to ask that standard question. How does that make you feel as a parent whose young daughter is going to a school which there's an alleged perpetrator of the genocide?
Kind of on both sides of the fence. I was happy that this information had been brought to Goucher, but then if you want to take it on a larger scale, it kind of takes you back almost to like 9/11. Just a simple check of this or a simple check of that may have prevented certain things from having occurred. He may have walked past my daughter, brushed up against her in the hallway. It's just, that's the mind play of being a mom. I'm glad that he was dismissed from the faculty. I'm glad that our children are safe, because we all go our day-to-day lives and just not think that something like this can happen in our small community.
15 years after the most brutal genocide of the last half-century, Munyakazi and some in the human rights community argue that the Rwandan judiciary is being used not to bring justice to the victims, but rather as a tool to silence political opponents. They claim President Paul Kagame has politicized the process in an effort to maintain control over the country.
As we've gone country to country and spoken to some of these genocide suspects, they all say they're willing to face trial, but not here in Rwanda, because it's not fair.
Those people who would be sent to us from outside are no different from other Rwandese who are in this country, whom we treat fairly. As I was reading in the newspaper the other day, some article written by Kenneth Roth of Human Rights Watch. This is a man who dropped in here for not more than a week, and is the expert. He is the one who should be relied on to make judgments about the president, about the systems there. It's the people of Rwanda that should be the ones to be asked. We want to be the ones to decide for ourselves.
How dangerous is this phenomenon of genocide denial?
Well, I think it is dangerous in a sense that it erodes on the efforts and attention and focus on dealing with what causes genocides.
One of the academics who's preaching that there was no genocide is Leopold Munyakazi. What are your thoughts about him?
He certainly identifies himself as being on one of these sides that believes there was nothing wrong with the genocide or that it was justified and so on and so forth. That's what I think about him.
Shortly after we visited him at the college in which he teaches, he was arrested by U.S. authorities.
Accountability is taking place. However late, I believe also it's never too late for people to face such measures of accountability when it is possible.
Congressman, can you tell me what's happened in the case of Professor Leopold Munyakazi? Professor Munyakazi's been put on indefinite leave from his teaching position at Goucher College. So I'm going to see Congressman Donald Payne to see if he knows anything else about the case. Congressman, can you tell me what's happened in the case of Professor Leopold Munyakazi?
We're awaiting the next step from the authorities. He has a right to a fair trial, and I think that in this case, we are seeing justice moving in the right direction. We're not there yet, but we certainly have seen that a person who has these accusations made against him should stand trial to prove his guilt or innocence.
You've been following this case for years and years and been pushing the system to try to get something done about him. Why do you think they acted now?
It seems unfortunate, but I do believe that we immediately received calls after there was knowledge that you all were doing this investigation, and authorities who had inaction before, all of a sudden there was action, which really shows the importance of attention, of public attention being brought to matters. It's unfortunate that it took the magnitude of this exposure, but the bottom line is that I think that we're moving in the right course towards justice.